The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and guests and don't necessarily reflect the views of WOWT.
Here we are once again with another episode of Becca's Talking. Don't forget to like us on the Facebook. Don't forget to check out the Becca's Talking YouTube channel to catch up on all the other podcasts we've done every week. Interesting people that you might not have a chance to meet in your everyday life, and today is no exception. And but first, I got to talk about this sponsor. This sponsor, the folks out there at Havana Garage. If you like the sort of thing like a good cocktail, a good conversation, a cigar, Havana Garage is the place to go. But, nobody likes that stuff, right? Nobody likes that sort of thing. And I'm only saying that because one of my guests today, over there on the far side there, is Chaz Kline, the owner of Havana Garage. And also joining me is Zach Triemert, who is the owner of Lucky Bucket Brewery and also Brickway Distillery. And we're going to talk about Omaha Whiskey Fest. But, maybe a little prelude to Omaha Whiskey Fest would be to stop by Havana Garage in the Old Market. Go and, like I said, have a cocktail, enjoy the atmosphere there. It's a great place to go and talk and have conversations. If you're going downtown for an event, maybe a dinner in the Old Market, make Havana Garage part of your plans. So, let's say we're talking about Omaha Whiskey Fest. Zach, Chaz, what is Omaha Whiskey Fest? This is the 5th year for it. What is it?
It is a brainchild of Chaz and I from a night sitting on his patio, smoking a cigar and drinking a few whiskeys, realizing there was a hole in Omaha for something that really celebrates whiskey. And our whole goal for this is whiskey education. It's not a come and, overconsume. It's a whiskey education. And, we're going to have hundreds and hundreds of whiskeys there. So you can try everything from, light American whiskey to heavy Scotch peated whiskey and everything in between. It's a fantastic event.
But, that's the thing. I don't think people realize just what an art form is, whiskey is. I have the opportunity. I'm a single malt Scotch drinker. I had the opportunity to go to Scotland and see what they do there. And it's fascinating to see the whole process. So what is it about whiskey as opposed to, beer or wine or some other spirit?
I don't know. I think just whiskey has always been rooted in this fundamental come together. I bring a bottle, a couple of glasses, and sit down and have a conversation. I think that is just deeply rooted in, all of our environments that we've grown up in and grandparents. And you always remember seeing your grandparents hanging out, family pictures, functions and whatnot. And I think that's what whiskey has done for America, at least. And the things that we try to promote is, come together, let's all enjoy a common spirit and have a conversation over it.
I was at the first one. I've been to a couple of them, but I was at the first one, and I think you guys were a little bit surprised at the response that you got. That place was packed, and it was a great event.
Yeah, it was a fire hazard.
Yeah.
It was the last event in Omaha before the world shut down.
Right.
I would love to expand on one thing on Chaz, on what makes whiskey different. And it's because there's still a mystery to whiskey. That barrel maturation that happens as that whiskey's aging, you have the additive reactions of the caramel and oak and all the other cinnamon, the flavors that come into whiskey. You have the subtractive reactions that are taking out the congeners, this thing that give you headaches. And I had an opportunity to be at Central Research at Harvard University in Edinburgh, Scotland. And I asked these PhD guys, what is going on in this barrel? And besides the things I just mentioned, they literally said to me, everything else is a mystery. Like, literally, you got a PhD in this stuff, and it's still today in the year 2025 still a mystery. And I think that's cool. It's sexy, and that's one thing I really love about it.
Well, that's it too, because you put these in a barrel, and a barrel that whiskey may sit for 8 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, and you don't quite know what you've got until you open it up and find out.
Yeah.
It is right. Let's talk about that a little bit, because you're right. There is so much that goes into it. You've got the grain. You've got the barrels. You've got the water. Let's start with a very basic fundamental, okay? What is the difference between Scotch, bourbon, rye? Those are the basic ones, right? The basic whiskeys? Am I missing any?
They're probably the most known
of
the whiskeys.
So what's the difference between the different types of whiskeys?
I'm going to kind of lead to the master distiller. Mine would be very rudimentary explanation.
So, Scotch whiskey, number one, it has to be made in Scotland. You can't make it anywhere else in the world. It has to be made from grain. Granted, you mentioned you like single malt Scotch whiskey. That means the grain bill has to be 100% malted barley. It has to be matured in Scotland in an oak barrel, but not specified which kind, for a minimum of 3 years. So those are the criteria on Scotch whiskey. And Scotch is known for its smoky, peaty quality. But when I hear people say, oh, I don't like Scotch, it means you haven't tried very much. You've probably only had Lefroy and think all whiskey is that insane and that peat character. Haters will say it, tastes like licking an ashtray, but I think it's absolutely lovely. But you can get much lighter Scotch whiskeys as well.
I'm a fan of Lefroy in the colder weather. And it's not a summer Scotch, but in the colder weather, you're right. And it's not an entry-level Scotch.
Yes.
You have to sort of work your way up to that. So somebody that maybe is not familiar with whiskey, but wants to learn more about it. And first of all, if you want to learn more about it, Whiskey Fest is a great place because you've got all these different distillers at these booths, and they're talking about their process, they're talking about their product, they're talking about what they've got. So you can learn an awful lot about whiskey besides just, like you say, having a drink.
Yeah, like Tom, I said, this event is all about education. And bourbon is the one thing I really like to highlight the education around, because I'll have people come to say to me, I don't like whiskey. I'm a bourbon guy. And that means they know nothing, and we can only go up because obviously bourbon is whiskey.
Well, no, if you like bourbon, you don't know anything about whiskey. But then again, I'm a Scotch guy, so I'm a little bit prejudiced.
Yes. So to be a bourbon, it has to be have a mash bill of a minimum of 51% corn. The balance can be white wheat, rye, malted barley, all of these grains in different concentrations. Then it has to be matured in a brand new charred American oak barrel. Different from Scotch whiskey, they typically use used barrels, much of it from the bourbon industry. And the third thing, and I get into the most arguments about, it doesn't have to be made only in Kentucky. It can be made anywhere in the United States of America. So it's the one spirit that us as Americans all own. And I think that's really cool.
Now, okay, so, and I did make that joke about, I don't bourbon. I'm not a bourbon drinker. I don't enjoy bourbon. I do enjoy Scotch.
Yeah.
I do enjoy Scotch. I also like Irish whiskey, and I also will have an occasional rye. But for some reason, bourbon just doesn't suit me. Maybe it's too sweet for my taste. Would that be fair?
Yeah, the more corn, the sweeter you're going to get. And so those higher balance in corn is going to lend to a sweeter character.
Yeah. You talked about the barrels. Most of the barrels, the wood from the barrels, comes from the United States. I mean, even over in Scotland, it comes from the United States, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting story. Well, it's interesting to me, at least. Interesting story. Monique Houston, who I think we all know, had a job for a while in Portugal, where her job was basically to just sample port wine because port is also port barrels also Scotch is aged in port barrels. Some brands of Scotch is, and they wanted to make sure that the port barrels that they were getting was quality stuff, and not just somebody throwing some crap in there just for the sake of, saying, okay, here's a port barrel. So there's a lot that goes into this that I think the average person doesn't realize the whole process in that as they go through. Now, what about rye? Because we talked about bourbon and Scotch. What about rye?
Rye, the only criteria is has to have a minimum of 51% rye in that mash. But you can make rye anywhere in the world.
One thing I find interesting, they talk about like rye, some of the stories behind these whiskeys. I mean, Jack Daniels is legendary, for bourbon. Then you go into Templeton when I get into rye, because rye. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a legend here that in Iowa that like Al Capone had Templeton distilleries and making rye. Is that sort of it's sort of foggy in my memory, but
some fanciful stories that were taking liberty for that. But I do believe Al Capone did like his rye whiskey.
Yeah, and of course all the different Scotch whiskeys. Which, if you ever go to Scotland, all the different regions and everybody's got a story to tell. And Chaz, so you're, I mean, when you go to Havana Garage, you've got a great selection of all different types of whiskeys.
Correct.
What are people drinking now? Because, people's tastes change over the years. Right. What are people drinking now?
I guess, from the standpoint of what everyone's drinking, bourbons are still, rocking really hard. Mm-hmm. I think Scotch certainly is being consumed, but probably more seasonal. such as yourself. You like, a Lafroig in the wintertime or in the colder months. I think that's probably true. From there, a lot of people are drinking rye. My good friend Zach here, Brickway, is a big proponent of our backdrop for local, and that's one thing that we really try to push is local whiskeys, local spirits.
Now, Zach, besides what you do with Brickway, are there other local distillers here in town or in the region?
We'll have another distillery out in La Vista called the Cutspike Distillery, and at that distillery, we've made the first peated American single malt that's been done in the Midwest. There are others throughout the country, but we're the first one to do it in the Midwest, and it is a really cool whiskey. I think you'd like it a lot.
Okay, so you talked about like Lucky Bucket out in Sarpy County, and then you've also got the Brickway there in the Old Market. When you talk about the stuff that you're distilling, and for that matter, brewing with the beer, how hard is it for you to get it to the marketplace? I mean, it's nice, you have the bars and that, you go in there and have that, but you have these new mega liquor stores that are popping up. Is it tough to get some shelf space to sell Brickway in these stores or to sell Lucky Bucket?
It's all very competitive, but we work hard as a company, not just with Whiskey Fest, but as a company to educate customers. So we do a lot of whiskey tastings and samplings in stores so we can get our liquor on people's lips. And once people try it, they fall in love with it. But yeah, we're still very grassroots, getting out there and getting people trying the stuff. I
will say, as a person that, like I said, I enjoy my Scotch. I do enjoy your single malts. You do have you've got a nice single malt there that you sell, and it's very tasty.
Well, thank you. And single malt is just on the precipice of just going vertical. So we've been making American single malt in Nebraska for over 18 years. And now there's over 200 producers of American single malt in the United States of America. And this year, in 2025, the federal government finally recognized it as its own category, just like bourbon is its own category. And so to be an American single malt, it has to be 100% malted barley, just like Scotch, but it's American. It has to be made in the United States of America and matured in a brand new charred American oak barrel. And now these big companies, these massive companies that have focused on bourbon or rye are going to start making American single malt, and they're going to do a lot of marketing message for me. So I love it.
Well, let's talk about that because, we've talked about American whiskey and Scotch whiskey, but it's all over. It's global, isn't it? Worldwide. I mean, there's great whiskeys from Japan, from India, worldwide, right?
Yes, I'm excited to say I'm going to Yamazaki in November. I'm super stoked. I don't get too nerdy. I'm getting pretty nerdy about this one. They're making great whiskey in Japan.
Oh, yeah. So you're going there to learn about their whiskey process?
I'm just going as a, excited customer.
And what is the difference? Or is there just a difference in just the way that the grain they use or the barrels? I mean, so in other words, if I'm drinking a Japanese whiskey single malt, how's that different than drinking one of your single malts?
Well, we have our own raw materials we work from, between Japan, Scotland, and the United States of America. And Japan, they learned from the Scotch. And they're, refined it and doing a great job, but you're not going to get that same typical peaty type of quality in a Japanese whiskey as you would in a Scottish whiskey. Mm-hmm. And then the American single malt, so many people think when they hear the word single malt, well, it must be Scotch. And there's nothing really in most American single malt that's anything like Scotch whiskey. You don't have any of that peaty quality unless you intentionally do it like with our Cutspike peated whiskey.
Yeah, and that's something too, is that like in Scotland, the Islay, the atmosphere there, because you're on an island, so you're more of a salty flavor, if you will, just and the peat is different on an Islay Scotch than would be in Speyside or Highland. So it does. It much like wine. I think a lot of people are more familiar with wine and the different varieties of wine. Scotch and whiskey in general is the same thing.
Terroir is real in whiskey as well.
Yeah. I want to talk about now Whiskey Fest itself and the event of Whiskey Fest. But first, I want to one more time give a plug to my good friend Chaz over here and the folks out of the Banner Garage. The Banner Garage in the Old Market. Chaz, how long you been in business there?
Since 2010.
Since 2010. So about 15 years.
15 years, yeah.
15 years been there. And you don't stay in the entertainment business like that. You don't stay in the bar business and that long unless you're doing something right.
I'd like to think we do something right.
You're doing something right, and you are. Havana Garage in the Old Market. Check it out. What made you decide to go with the Rat Pack motif?
That's something I've always enjoyed. A very good friend of mine growing up had been very involved in Frank Sinatra and had collected hundreds of pieces of memorabilia, has written books about Frank Sinatra, and we just shared a kinship in him as an entertainer, and it was something that I just kind of got accustomed to and thought, what a nice theme to roll into Havana Garage, as you know, we pay homage to, on the cigar side, Havana Cuba, which was for the most part our origins for smoking cigars. And you had the Rat Pack involved in the 50s and the lore and the fantasy about Cuba. And I guess it just all came together.
Now, I know in the past at Whiskey Fest, there's been tents and that you could go and have a nice cigar along with your whiskey. Yeah. Is it going to be that again this year? Don't have a Scotch tent?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have Havana
tent?
Garage. We'll have their cigar lounge there. Anybody who buys a ticket for the event, for Omaha Whiskey Fest, will receive a free cigar. That's part of your ticket purchase. And then you can smoke that out in the lounge. That'll be on the north side of the Hilton, ground level. And there you will also have cocktails made by our sponsor liquor for this Omaha Whiskey Fest, and that's Crown Royal.
And by the way, the event is October 5th. October 5th. It's held downtown at the Hilton, right?
October 4th.
October 4th. And I had written down on October 4th, and it's right next to where it says you've been in business for 5 years, doing this for 5 years, and that's where October 5th came from. So it's October 4th.
There we go.
I saw the look on your face when I said October 5th, and it was like...
We're doing it 2 days?
Yeah. What did I do wrong? Well, it was all track of time, so let's talk about it, the time, because it's not an all-day thing, right?
No. It's Saturday, October 4th. If you purchase a VIP ticket, you'll be able to participate from 1 to 5.
Okay, and how much is a VIP ticket?
$175.
Okay, and how much for just a general admission ticket?
$100.
What's the difference between the two?
Really, two things. Time frame, VIP, you get in at 1. General, you get in at 2. And the VIP, they're able to sample a special bottle or bottles by most of all the distributors and manufacturers that are there. So that in and of itself makes the purchase of the ticket simple.
Yeah.
You're going to be sampling something that might be a limited edition product, as something that doesn't normally hit the shelves here in Omaha. And that's the exciting part, especially anybody with whiskey, as we talked about the origins of how people were getting together. It's that, hey, did you go try that at this booth? Did you go try Brickway's new product at this booth? Or Cut Spike? Those are the things that people talk about.
That is one of the things that I've noticed when I've gone to Whiskey Fest. First of all, I end up seeing a lot of people I hadn't seen in a long time.
Sure.
Which is nice. So you get that camaraderie. And then also just everybody saying, hey, I just tried this from this distiller. I tried this over there. Have you liked that? Do you like this? What are you drinking? Is it any good? That's sort of a conversation, because it is. And that's just something about, alcohol versus, marijuana. Of course, now with marijuana becoming more and more prevalent as far as legal in other states, I'd much rather have a cocktail and the conversation.
Yeah.
Like personally, when COVID hit, I know that a lot of people were saying, I'm drinking a lot more. I drank less because I like going out and being with people. I like having a cocktail and being with people, because there's just something about that just, for me, is relaxing and entertaining that you don't get, in a lot of other ways.
Right.
And there's one other added extra that is there's also the Brickway VIP Lounge.
Absolutely.
And so VIP ticket holders get a special room where we have cocktails that we're making, and we also have extra sampling there and some food that is only in the VIP room. Okay,
so it's well worth getting the VIP ticket, and as a person that has bought the VIP ticket in the past, I can attest to that. It's, and you have a limited number of VIP tickets, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, so there's still some tickets available. So where would they go and find the ticket? Where would they be able to get a ticket?
OmahaWhiskeyFest.com.
OmahaWhiskeyFest.com to get the tickets and join us on October 4th at the Hilton downtown. A Whiskey Fest, like for Omaha, it was pretty unique. Like I said, it's been 5 years, right? It was pretty unique. Whereas like places like Chicago and other municipalities do some really big whiskey fests as well, right?
Correct. In fact, before Zach and I, put this, sealed this together, I said, Zach, we got to go to Chicago. Let's go. We're going to go hit the whiskey fest there and see what that's like, and see if it's even possible in Omaha. And we had an awesome time. Monique was there, which was dynamite, and we met a lot of other people in the whiskey industry, which was just fabulous because, you find that commonality. Everyone wants to hang out with each other and talk about this whiskey or that whiskey, like you were just explaining before. But yes, we went to Chicago Whiskey Fest first, kind of looked at what they were doing and said, we can do this. I mean, we can do this. This is, not simple, but it's doable.
And it's a very top-notch event. I mean, it is a very classy event. And like you said, it's about education. It's about learning. You do have a designated driver program. Also, Hop and O'Brien, right?
Correct.
We'll give a free ride if somebody's had a little bit too much.
Correct.
They can also get discounted rates on the hotel rooms there at the Hilton.
Yep, there's a hotel block for Whiskey Fest ticket holders. You can actually go from our website to do the tickets. You can also get them at Hilton.com downtown. It's just there's so many safe ways. I think everybody should get a room because why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, Hop and O'Brien gives free rides home, and the designated driver ticket is just $25, and that person will get to walk around, sample, and the food and
soft drinks and
yes.
Yeah. So and that's something too. I mean, because I'm thinking about like bourbon and Coke, and that, but. This is really more along the lines of like you don't add stuff to it. This is all pretty much solid. Sip your whiskey and taste all the different flavors.
Right. Enjoy it. Walk around, and like you had mentioned before, Tom, just you saw some people you haven't seen in a while. Well, this is what Zach and I have tried to create is this environment where commonality of whiskey and the love of whiskey and the education of whiskey can come together. At least for 1 year. One time a year, come together.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that we really, made an emphasis of is that we really wanted to bring a charity into this event.
Oh, yeah.
The charities that, you see all over Omaha and around the country, but we had, as a board, chose to, each one gets to pick a charity, and that charity will be the sponsor charity for the year. And this year it's Project Pink. So, breast cancer survivors, they're going to have a place, which is a silent auction that we'll have there, so people can bid on various silent auction items to support Project Pink. And this year, for the first time, as board members, we each got to pick our favorite charity, which that charity will be out on the floor, interacting with the participants and talking about the charity which they support. And they'll also have the opportunity to be sampling out whiskeys as well.
Okay, so it is about education, but not only education about the whiskeys, also education about the various charities and the good work that a lot of people do.
Correct. With each of the ticket purchases, you also receive a box lunch. And that box lunch, any of the lunches that aren't used go to Saving Grace, which is an additional charity. So trying to give back for something that we love so much, back to the community of Omaha.
It really is a great event. How has it been met with like the city leaders? Do you get support from the chamber? Do you get support from like Douglas County? I know that they have a fund to help sponsor events for people that come in from out of town. Are you getting support from them now that you've got a track record and improving yourself?
Yeah, we have in the past. Visit Omaha has been really great. Have provided us a grant to help promote the program. As far as any deeper than that, I think we've always extended invitations to any of the public officials. Be it city, county, or the mayor. And some show, some don't. But it's just the opportunity to come out and see constituents as well.
It really is. It's a great event, and I'll admit I am not. If you ever get a chance, read one of the books. There's an author, I think he's passed away now, but Michael Jackson was one. There's some books out there about the different sampling of whiskeys and what a whiskey tastes like, and some of these people have got such a palate. I don't have that palate. It's like, but all the different layers of flavors. I can tell the basic ones. but sometimes they'll get into with a wisp of cinnamon. I didn't taste that, but good for you, you know?
Good
just
marketing.
Just to clarify, we're talking Michael Jackson, the beer hunter and whiskey hunter, not the other one.
Yes, right, yes. How unfortunate for him, yes.
Yes.
But
one thing about the event, if you haven't been before, it's a massive event. It's the entire second floor of the Hilton. It's over 60,000 square feet, and so it's spread out, and it's just easy to flow through the building. We just were donated 2 pallets of water from American Beer Equipment, and so there's tons of water there too, so we can balance out those 3 to 4 hours of sampling whiskey as well. Safety is one of our first priorities.
when you get into the event itself, is there like one section for the rye, one section for the scotch, one section for the bourbon, or is it like all intermingled? Will a bourbon person be next to a rye person, be next to a scotch person, be next to a Japanese whiskey person?
It's all intermixed, and we try to mix in smaller distilleries, next to bigger distilleries, so people can see those differences. And it's laid out really smart. Our executive director Lori Hellbush does an amazing job putting all of that together.
Yeah. Now, does Brookway just have the one single malt whiskey?
Oh no, we have 2 different bourbon whiskeys, a rye whiskey, our American single malt whiskey, and then we're always doing fun one-off things as well. In fact, we just released our first ever 6-year, 120 proof bourbon whiskey, and it is going to be our special whiskey at Omaha Whiskey Fest.
It is outstanding.
Yeah,
Outstanding.
You like it, huh, Chaz?
Yes, I like it very much. Yes.
Not to mention the fact you also do vodka, correct?
Yes.
And any other spirits?
We have vodka, gin, rum, brandy. We're doing a little of everything, but our vodka really is incredible. So I really love when people come and experience how pure, clean. We use Sandhill style water, has mouthfeel and texture. It's side by side. I'll put it up against any vodka out there.
Is it frustrating that like you said, you put out a quality product? By the way, people that don't know, I was out at Brickway a couple of weeks ago. I'm rather out at Lucky Bucket a few weeks ago, and I saw the picture of your grandfather. You've got a family history of being involved in the whiskey business, don't you?
Yes, yeah. My great grandfather was a bootlegger during Prohibition, and we've got the pictures to prove it. He was a pretty interesting dude. He was also 6'4", so some of those genes fell off, but I still got the rum running in me. So do you deal with a prejudice when it's like, oh yeah, that must not be a very good whiskey. That must not be a very good vodka because it's from Omaha. I only get my vodka from Russia, or I only get my bourbon from Kentucky. Do you run into a prejudice like that sometimes? Particularly in the whiskey business, I'm fighting a perception that if my whiskey doesn't come from far away, it can't be good. And there could be nothing farther from the truth. And our whiskeys have the award to prove that we're winning national and international awards. But again, that's why we're grassroots, on the ground, sampling with people. And once they try it, they become fans real quickly.
Yeah, and it's a good economic driver for this area. I mean, yeah, you don't sell all that product nationwide without it benefiting Omaha. So it is good for the city and state. Anything else I need to mention about Whiskey Fest, or what do you want to promote? Anything we didn't cover?
Buy a ticket.
Buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And once again, where do you get the information for the tickets?
OmahaWhiskeyFest.com.
OmahaWhiskeyFest.com. Get the VIP ticket for all the extras, but just a general ticket, and find out for yourself. Check it out. It really is. It's a fun event. If you enjoy a cocktail every now and then, that would be a place to go. Learn a little bit more about it, and just see some friends and some people you haven't seen in a while, and learn something. And of course, although Whiskey Fest is brought to you by, let's mention all the sponsors. You said Crown Royal is a sponsor, Havana Garage is a sponsor, Brickway and Lucky Bucket are sponsors. Any other sponsors?
Well, Hilton. Hilton sponsor.
Hilton, and of course Hopman O'Brien.
Right.
So yeah. So anyway, go to the website. That's all on there. Everything's on the website. Find out, and then I will see you October 4th down at the Hilton at Whiskey Fest. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook, the Becca's Talking Facebook page. Also, go and subscribe and like us on the YouTube channel. and catch up with a lot of the podcasts we've done in the past. You know, might have missed a few here or there, and a lot of interesting people. Been doing this now for over a year. Yeah. Hard to believe it's been over a year already.
It has been, Tom.
Been doing over a year, so there's a lot of great interviews there with a little bit of everything. Check it out, the Becca's Talking YouTube channel. Till next time, take care, and bye, y'all.